family, friends, all my qualifiers. I just wanted to stop by and have a little conversation, rhetoric about discourse, whatever you want to call it, about a topic that's always been asked to me, constantly asked to me in my DM, friends who ask me this in person, but I wanted to have this conversation, things I've experienced personally with you all. Anyone and everyone who knows me knows about my book that I released, Qualified, The Controversy of Divorce and Remarriage. The book is actually dear to me, hit me in a lot of personal places. I just wanted to discuss it from a biblical standpoint, a statistical standpoint, and just wanted to have that conversation with many people, you know, whether it's those who's experienced it, those who's contemplated it, the list goes on, and those who maybe even single, whatever. But I always believe that prevention is better than cure in any circumstance. So whoever you are, if you don't have a copy, go to drgeorgefabre.com, get your copy. And I feel like it would be a blessing to you. And I've had many people say it's a book they love. But what I want to discuss with you all today is domestic violence. Anyone who knows me personally knows I'm anti-domestic violence. Man should not hit a woman. A woman should not hit a man. But I definitely want to redress something that is very important. And I'm not coming here to advocate or to defend anyone who hits any party involved, any of the parties involved, but I want to discuss this issue. Women oftentimes are the ones, higher percentage, that are the victim of domestic violence. And there is actually a study poll that's recently been released where a pretty good percentage of women have provoked their spouse, partner, whatever have you, to pursue domestic violence. And the reason why I'm bringing this topic up, because oftentimes women play the victim role. Oftentimes, and don't get me wrong, there are those who have actually been victimized, who have been beaten, or whatever the case has been, abused. I am not speaking to you, and I'm not discrediting anybody's experience. But I want to have this conversation because many women actually provoke men to pursue or resort to domestic violence. We're in a generation where women are indicating how independent they are. They have their own resources. They don't need a man. And in many cases, you all do better than us. And I really applaud all women who are doing better than their husbands, their significant others, whatever the case is, or the relationship you're involved in with your man. I applaud you for that. And I believe that is phenomenal as long as your man doesn't have any insecurities. And you must observe if he had these insecurities before you both do the I do. You must observe these things. You must observe all sorts of characteristics, any type of insecurities, any type of conversation that makes him feel lowered, or if he can't handle that you are doing better than him financially, or pay attention to all the signs. All right. So I just want to let you all know, do not act up or play that victim role if you propose or initiate the fight. And I'm going to say it again. Don't think that it's okay because you know he won't hit you back, that it's okay for you to just start swinging, throwing your best blows, hoping that you connect, and that when you connect, he's just going to walk off. You have to remember that what you reap, you sow. So there are some people who can handle that. Some men who can handle that. They could easily say, you know what, I don't have time for that. Run out the house, whatever the case is. But in some instances, some people do black out and they do respond. So I want you to understand there is no justification for any type of abuse, but you have to be careful if you're the initiator, if you're the one provoking the other person. You knew Chucky didn't have a job when you met Chucky. You knew Chucky couldn't hold jobs when you met Chucky. You knew Chucky had insecurities when you knew you had to stroke Chucky's ego because Chucky was told by previous relationships or previous partners that Chucky couldn't fulfill certain things. You knew it before you did the I do. So now that you've done the I do, there are certain things you have to prohibit and prevent so things don't escalate. Some people can't handle certain criticism or certain constructive criticism any way, shape, or form. You must have a strategic way to know how to approach an individual. When I studied psychology to teach it for college, they have what's called behavioral cognitive theory. It talks about the environment the individual's from. Some of these young men and or women are from an environment where that's what they were exposed to. And that's all they knew. And some of them don't want to be a victim or want to be a product of that environment anymore. So you have to understand, when that individual comes from that environment and that's all they saw that the parents resorted to, but they want to get out of it, whatever the case is, you have to understand there are certain things you have to prevent, certain ways you have to approach the individual, especially if you love that individual. Don't come on calling that individual a B, A, nigga, whatever the case is, excuse my language, or start calling them all sorts of names to make him or her or their ego get questioned. Nobody wants to deal with second guessing themselves, second guessing their capability as an individual to provide. All right, you got to understand, these are so much things. There are so many things that we all have to have in our mindsets before we do the I do of how to approach your man, how to deal with your man. You know, I always advocate for women because I work with tons of women. I've had conversations with tons of women. I've counseled many men and women, but I usually advocate a lot for women. But this time around, again, I'm not discrediting anyone who's suffered, you know, with domestic violence or any type of abuse. But you got to understand, you can't provoke it and not expect a response all the time. Somebody may respond one day. Just be careful. You knew what you were getting into or who you were getting into with before you did what you did or what you're doing now. So just be mindful how you approach that individual. If it's not with love, if it's not with compassion, if it's not with empathy, not just sympathy, empathy, putting yourself in that person's position so you know how you'd want to be approached, you must be very careful. I love all of you. I just wanted to have this moment to speak to you all. I don't want to overwhelm your timelines, but I wanted to have this conversation with all of you concerning this matter. And there's no excuse for domestic violence, abuse, or any of the above. But we have to be very cautious of how we treat each other, how we approach each other, how we care for each other, how we talk to each other. Today, to all of my qualifiers, my family, my friends, I want to take this moment to thank you all for watching this podcast. We have more to come every Thursday at 6 p.m. Expect to get some new material, new content that we will be sharing. We'll be covering all types, all sorts of topics. Don't miss out. Listen, follow us, subscribe, do all that you got to do. Subscribe to our YouTube page. What are you waiting for? Let's get it done. Let's do this together. Share, comment, provide all the insight that you have. Let us share and learn from each other respectfully and with love. One more thing. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. I am drg.fab. Also on Facebook, Dr. George Fabre. And don't forget to like our page. And also, if you want this merchandise, you want all these apparel merchandise and all of the things that we have to offer, our book, The Controversy of Divorce and Remarriage, don't forget to go to drgeorgefabre.com. Again, drgeorgefabre.com. I appreciate and love all of you all. See you next week, 6 p.m.